Calling all Less Than Jake fans. The second leg of the Summer Circus 2025 is happening soon. We'll be starting out west in Phoenix, Arizona on Friday, July 25th, and taking it all the way through until Saturday, August 16th, where we wrap it all up in Nashville, Tennessee. Join us for a night of rambunctious ska punk music with our friends Fishbone, The Suicide Machine, and Catfight. Grab your tickets now at lessthanjake.com. The Summer Circus 2025 is almost here. Limited VIP tickets are available for each stop as well. Those too can be found at lessthanjake.com. Bring your dancing shoes along with your circus-themed outfits. We can't wait to see you. This episode is brought to you by DistroKid. Hey everybody, today's guest is multi-instrumentalist and vocalist Tracy Bonham. Together, we take a deep dive into the writing, recording, and inspiration behind her breakout hit single, Mother Mother, taken from her 1996 debut album, The Burdens of Being Upright. Wow, what a cool song. Tracy informed me that she not only sang and played violin on the track, but she recorded all of the guitars, both electric and acoustic. The song screams the 1990s, from its recorded execution to Tracy's vocal angst, the odd arrangement, and the fact that there's a violin in a hit rock song. Tracy mentioned that she initially thought Mother Mother was funny, a tongue-in-cheek yet insanely biographical take on Tracy's relationship with her mom at the time. A relationship that truly blossomed when Tracy's mom played herself in the video for Mother Mother. So cool. Producers Sean Slade and Paul Q. Coldery knocked this one out of the park. When I asked Tracy if she still thinks the song sounds slamming almost 30 years later, she enthusiastically said yes, because it does. Mother Mother rocks. So stick around. This is a fun one. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Krista makes a podcast. So Tracy, how many times have you played Wow Hall?
Wow Hall. Well, I think I've only played there once, but I've been there as a teenager, and I think I still smell like patchouli and body odor.
For those that don't know, Wow Hall, Tracy was born and raised in Eugene, Oregon. I was just there. My band played McDonald Theater last October, and that was the first what I would consider proper venue. The Wow Hall was like a community center that they would do all kinds of shows, art collectives, fundraisers. It was a community effort, lots of punk rockers. And my band played down there a lot in the 90s. And actually, when we played McDonald last year, I walked by the Wow Hall. I couldn't believe how small it was. It used to feel big to me.
Exactly. Those things happen. I actually saw Art Blakey.
Oh, geez.
The jazz drummer play there. I know. You're right. It was very eclectic. It was all kinds of shows and events. Yeah.
What I loved about it was parents could drop their kids off and know that they were most likely going to be intact an hour later.
Maybe if they didn't go into the back parking lot or something, stay away from that part.
Exactly. Well, this song we're going to talk about today, Mother Mother, is just, it's so cool. And I marvel at the fact that this was your breakout single. And what was that like as a younger performer? And I say younger performer, you weren't a kid.
No,
you weren't you weren't a teenager. You had put in some time, but in your late 20s you have this breakout hit. What did that feel like?
Oh man, it was truly bizarre. And you're right, I was 27, I think. And I had been a musician my entire life, like ever since age 4 or 5. And I was in Boston, and the music scene there was just hopping. And what was weird was that when my song hit, I got a lot of backlash from fellow musicians and other bands in Boston. So that kind of sucked, actually.
Like jealousy?
Yeah. Well, I think it's
Yeah.
naturally just that. Because they had this impression that maybe I wasn't paying my dues long enough, and I suppose, right, I wasn't in an indie band since I was 15 or whatever, but I had been a musician. So it took me a while to get over that psychologically, because I didn't like that feeling of people having bad thoughts about me. But that was Boston too. Like, Boston is its own thing.
Sure.
And it's very much like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting, when you're that young, you take those things to heart.
Oh,
Think they mean a lot. I look back now and it's just like, and I've had so many artists on this show, both friends and just people I admire that have been on, and songs I've loved that have told me the same thing. Like, it wasn't my fault. I just wrote this song. I didn't. I wasn't in a van for 15 years. I'm sorry. And then you get guys like me. I was out there. I paid those dues. I was out there forever doing that. But you know what? If I would have had a hit out of the gate, I wouldn't have turned my nose up at it.
I mean, right. You can't stop it. And it's really great. Like, when those winds start blowing, you're just like, let's ride. It was also a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the almost overnight success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was the press junket like? I know you're up at 7 a.m, you're doing the radio, and that seems so glamorous when you're younger, but I've done them.
Right.
You're in there at 7 a.m, and you're wondering how your voice is going to wake up, how you're going to sing your hit to morning drive time. This is a big one, Tracy. It's Boston. It's BCN. You got to be on. You got to be on right now.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, seriously, getting up that early, and for your vocal cords, you need time. And it's not just about having coffee or whatever. It's like your body is just not ready to do it. And a song like Mother, Mother, I learned the hard way, is, screaming is not good for your vocal cords. Who knew?
To this day, I'll tour with bands. I call them the Cookie Monster vocals.
Oh, God, yes.
I got buddies of mine that sing like that, and and they're getting up near my age, and I'm like, how are you still doing that?
I wonder how. I mean, I wonder if it's because they probably give up the ghost on like singing in a pristine way. Right. So maybe if it's all gravel like that, maybe they can continue to gravel it up until they just like completely lose.
Well, you think of poor guys like Brian Johnson from AC/DC, who's pushing 80, still singing like he's gargling glass.
Yeah, there is a way to do it. Like, I learned from a coach that there's a way to scream that doesn't kill your voice, but it just sounds weird. It sounds kind of like a Muppet or something.
Yeah, like a fake scream.
Yeah.
Well, take us back, if you can, to writing Mother, Mother. Was this a song you had been playing in the coffee houses and kind of been showing your friends, or was this written specifically for the album?
Oh, it definitely the first. So I'd been playing around, and honestly, it might be the second song I ever really completed. Maybe third song. Yeah, I know. It was crazy.
Really?
I learned the bar chord. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's go up and down the neck. And, it originally had a different chorus. It had like a sweet little chorus. It was like, our little girl, which is really sweet, but completely different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I still have the journal where I was working out the lyrics. And then, I just started toying around with, making fun of people who screamed. So that's why I screamed Everything's Fine. It was ironic to me. I was kind of making fun of, let's just say, somebody like a Courtney Love or somebody who would scream in their song. Because
I could read between the lines.
Exactly. It really wasn't a part of I didn't scream, and I didn't think of myself as one of those kinds of bands or artists. But when I started toying around with it, it made me laugh. And then my other reaction was, oh my God, I cannot do that, which meant I have to do it.
This song conjures up a lot of things with me. It's fun, it's dark, it's serious. It's got all these different emotions wrapped up into one. Do you recall the first take? Did you do like a demo of the track? I know you said the chorus was a little different, but did the song go through a lot of evolution?
Right. I think by the time I was recording, and I had a 4-track cassette, and I think I eventually got an 8-track cassette. I think it was a Tascam.
Oh boy,
238. I don't know. I'm just making that up. But I believe the original chorus never really made it on a demo. So I had started to do the zonk, zonk screaming thing and demoed it on my cassette. And let's see, I'm trying to think of, I think Johnny Polanski, who was a guitar player for me at the time. And he's an artist, a singer-songwriter who has a very funny sense of humor. So, and I think my boyfriend at the time, Mike Levesque, was playing. So we just recorded in somebody's basement or something.
Okay.
And then played around live in Boston, and I was starting to get a buzz. But the song that was actually getting the buzz was my song, The One, not Mother, Mother.
And that's interesting because this song on the surface, it was a hit song, but I guess it really embodies what the 90s were about. You could have a weird song. This song probably wouldn't have gotten the radio in the 80s. Totally. It's just, it screams 90s, but something also makes me feel like that wasn't your objective when you wrote it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to try to sound 90s. Who knew what that sounded like then, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you're living in it, no. What I loved about the 90s and writing songs and being part of a scene and in a band was there was a lot of creativity, and I didn't think there were a lot of rules, and I loved that, especially coming from a classical background where there's so many rules. I wanted to have a way to express myself that was just fully me, and I was inspired by PJ Harvey and the Pixies and all of those bands that didn't adhere to the confines of the rules, and they were completely their own artists. So that's what I was going for.
I love it. You mentioned Courtney earlier, but PJ Harvey was the first female vocalist I kind of picked out. I said, okay, I wonder if Tracy listened to PJ, because I can hear some of that angst in the track. And you had mentioned you were classically trained violinist and pianist and self-taught guitarist, which when we get into the track, those things, I can point some things out that are really interesting. And I've always loved that. And again, I'm not classically trained. That wasn't my fault. I just wasn't. You don't have to be, but I love when you look inside bands. My band in particular, our sax player, he went to Berklee School of Music up in Boston. So all the time, those little things sometimes will bleed into the music. Boston, how did you wind up in Boston?
I transferred from my conservatory life where I was playing violin, and I thought, I want to sing. And I was in Los Angeles at USC. I transferred to Berklee College of Music.
So you were there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was there for 1 year. I thought at that time I was still testing, I was trying to figure out who I was. And I was toying with being a jazz singer. And then I got into like doing jingles, and, I kind of could sing any genre almost. So I was just really trying everything out. Went for 1 year, didn't really like it, actually. I wasn't challenged. So yeah, I stayed in Boston. I didn't really want to be in Boston because I'm from Eugene, Oregon, and then I was living in LA. And why am I here with this like 10-foot snowbank? I can't even dig my car out. And it was for the guy that I wrote my first album about. It's his fault that I stayed. It's his fault. He was so bad to me, but I stayed. It was terrible.
I knew there had to be an excuse why you moved to Boston, and that's it. Yeah. Well, after the release of your EP, The Liverpool Sessions, you were signed to Island Records. And you released your debut studio album, The Burdens of Being Upright, on March 19th, 1996. The single, Mother Mother, was released 1 week before the album on March 12th of 96. And, looking at the album credits, it was recorded at Fort Apache in Cambridge with producers Sean Slade and Paul Q. Coldery. And I know of those guys very well because they produced the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, among other bands, and they recorded at Fort Apache as well. And Boss Tones were also signed to Island. Is that how the arrangement came together with Sean and Paul?
Oh, not at all, actually. Let's see. I'm trying to think of how I met Sean and Paul. I think I was really impressed with their work. I loved Radiohead so much. So knowing that they had produced Radiohead and other local bands, I'm trying to think of who
they did Piebald, they did Portugal, The Man Warren, Zavon, Morphine, Belly.
Morphine. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So Belly and Morphine, both Boston bands. I was like, okay, I want to check these guys out. And they were there in Cambridge. Yeah. And that's how that happened.
I love their productions. Well, I want to get into the song. If you were trying for a radio hit, this song's 3 minutes on the dot, Tracy. So I think that you're perfect there. We got the first ingredient to making a hit. Something else I find interesting. You can sing. That's obvious.
Thank you.
There's no vocal harmonies in this song.
Right. I know. And I love harmony.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do.
That first album, I'd stayed away from a lot of the things that I truly, now when I look back, I'm like, why didn't I put harmonies there and violin? And why didn't I play the piano? The 90s, the early 90s especially, I drank the Kool-Aid and I was not supposed to sound like I was trying too hard. I didn't want to sound too trained. I didn't want to sound like keyboards were not cool at the time.
It was the angsty 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to go straight from coffee house to the stage.
Exactly. And just stare at your shoes and just pretend, I don't really care. I could be sleeping right now. Like that.
Okay, well, the song, there's no intro. Okay, you're just gonna go straight in. You're gonna go straight into this sucker. The intro is verse 1. It's a double verse right off the top.
Mother, mother, how's the family? I'm just calling to say hello. How's the weather? How's my father? Mother, are you listening? Just a phone call to ease your mind. Life is perfect, never better. Distance making the heart grow blind. When you send me off.
Mother, mother, how's the family? I'm just calling to say hello. How's the weather? How's my father? Am I lonely? Heavens no. Mother, mother, are you listening? Just a phone call to ease your mind. Life is perfect, never better. Distance making the heart grow fond.
It's funny? It's distance making the heart grow blind. But a lot of people get that, because of the saying.
Here's another lyric question, okay? And I looked at a couple different sites. It's spelled Heavens K-N-O-W, but it should be no, right? N-O.
Yeah, that's obvious, right? Heavens no, right?
Well, I didn't know. It's the weird 90s. Maybe you were being poetic.
Oh, right, exactly.
Heavens no. The heavens knows everything, right?
That's deep. I didn't even realize how deep it was. No, it's as if I'm saying no, heavens no.
So what's happening here? You talking to your mother?
I am. So I moved, to LA, which was close enough to Eugene. She and I could drive up and down I-5 and, there was some contact there. And I was playing violin. So she was proud. I got the full scholarship, violin. And then I did the thing where I just decided I'm going to move to Boston and I'm going to go to Berkeley and sing jazz. And I remember my stepdad, as much as I love him, he said this thing to me. He said, be prepared to starve. And I'll never forget that moment. So when I moved to Boston, things were not going so well. I had this terrible boyfriend, terrible, that treated me awfully. I didn't have any money. I dropped out. Well, maybe this was about the time when I was going to drop out of Berkeley. Also, this awful boyfriend introduced me to a white powder substance for a brief period of time. Thank God that was over. But so things were bad. And so I'd call my mom, and now she's a worrywart, God love her, but she just, constantly worried about me, rightly so. And I would want to just placate her and just say, no, everything's okay. But in those lyrics, you can hear that there's a surface. It's very surface. It's like, how's the weather? Small talk. How's my father? That to me, it's just a personal thing where I'm asking about my stepfather. It's not like, how's dad? So these little subtleties meant a lot to me in these lyrics.
You really just, let me jump in here real quick. You really just hit me with something there I haven't thought about in a long time. I remember calling my dad in the early days of being on the road, and he would always say to me before we'd hang up, "No precarious positions, son." "Oh, Dad, everything's fine." As I'm at a payphone in the middle of the worst part of wherever I'm at, looking at a drug deal going down in front of me.
Right.
Yeah, and you don't want. I was really close with both mom and dad, and I didn't want to worry them. That was really what it was.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. You have good intentions, but you're a kid. You're out in the world for the first time, completely on your own, and sometimes you just find yourself in these, what did you say, precarious positions?
Yeah, that's what he would say. Yeah, that was always, my brother and I still joke about it. My dad's no longer here, but sometimes we'll say, we'll be leaving each other saying goodbye. No precarious positions.
That's amazing. Yeah, it just happens. It's kind of a rite of passage too. And, hopefully you don't, I would never encourage young kids to get out there and try everything, because there's some danger, especially these days.
Yeah.
But when you call your parents, there's this fine line you gotta balance. You don't want them to know everything.
Especially if you respect and love them. It's a different thing if you're still rebelling, which some people do their whole life to their parents. Lots of stuff going on in verse 1. Acoustic guitar, shaker, and a vocal. It sounds like we're in the same room together. That's what I love about this production.
Great.
It sounds great. And before I go any further, we're almost 30 years removed from you recording this track.
Yeah.
Do you still think it sounds great? Because I think it sounds awesome.
I really do, actually. I mean, it was the 90s. So when we mixed it, and I went down to Miami Beach, where Tom Lord-Alge mixed it.
Nice.
It's super compressed. It's so compressed. But, when I still listen, I listen back to it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is really great.
No, it rocks so hard. It's so good. And I also wrote here, it's very honest but fun. I kind of mentioned that. A moment ago as well. Second half of verse 1, when you say, "Mother, mother, are you listening?" Your violin comes in on the second half here, and at the very end when it says, "Distance making the heart grow." And what was that last line? Blind. There's a big drum fill that takes us into pre-chorus 1. I was going to make the argument that this is the chorus. It's so catchy, but I'm calling it the pre-chorus because we get two different sets of lyrics, and the next part that comes, the "I'm hungry" part, I'm calling the chorus because we get that twice. But there was really, talk about throwing out the rule book, the playbook on songwriting. The 90s was all about that. It was like, the weirder you were, almost like bands like Ween were getting signed.
Totally. That's what I love. That's the stuff I loved. Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah. Well, the pre-chorus.
The heart grow fun when you send me off to see the world. Were you scared that I might get hurt? Would I try a little tobacco? Would I keep on hiking up my skirt? I'm hungry.
When you sent me off to see the world, were you scared that I might get hurt? Would I try a little tobacco? Would I keep on hiking up my skirt? I love that line because tobacco could mean a lot of things. Is that what you meant there?
Yeah, but I mean, no, I think I was talking about cigarettes. I have a whole history of like getting kicked out of music school because I smoked a cigarette, So there's that.
And, would I keep on hiking up my skirt? That's kind of playful. Was mom ever saying, hey, put the brakes on here. You're dressing a little too scantily clad.
Yeah, you're not going to wear that, are you? There's a lot of arguments back when I was in high school. Like, you can't wear that.
That's so funny. I have a daughter now. I never thought about those things.
Oh,
Do you?
geez.
Yeah,
Wow.
I know. And
I'm
she's
sorry for you. I'm just kidding. No, I'm sure it's great.
It's great now. I got about 7 years till she's a teenager and things could change.
Oh, yeah.
Change drastically. Pre-chorus 1, drums, bass, acoustic guitar, and big fuzzy stereo guitars are all rocking away. The drums are playing this big open hi-hat. And I had already said that this to me is the pre-chorus, even though, man, this is so catchy, this part.
Yeah. And I remember people telling me when they first heard it, they'd turn up the beginning of the song because it's like, oh, it's like you said, it's intimate. I'm going to turn it up. Great. And then when the dugga dugga comes on, like literally, I think someone told me their speakers fell off the stands. I'm like, oops. Yeah.
Well, and I've always loved that in Tom Lord Alge's one of the best out there. He's with the Andy Wallaces and all those guys that have been doing it forever, and they know how to mix for dynamics. And
for sure.
This song is so perfect when it goes to this part. And right off the heels of pre-chorus 1, we're into chorus 1. And this part is this is where it gets mean. This is where it gets tough. You get the screams going.
I'm hungry, I'm dirty, I'm losing my mind, everything's fine. I'm freezing, I'm starving, I'm bleeding to death, everything's fine. Yeah, I'm working.
I'm hungry, I'm dirty, I'm losing my mind. Everything's fine. I'm freezing. I'm starving. I'm bleeding to death. Everything's fine. And that goes to what you were saying. You were broke. You didn't have much money. It's freezing because it's Boston.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a tough place to live. I mean, of course, it's a college town, whatever. But yeah, those obviously are exaggerations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, right. I love writing songs because you can do anything. Like you just said, you can break the rules even. So I think it's pretty obvious for those people who get jokes that it's not, that's not literal.
Mm-hmm.
And then the scream of everything's fine kind of seals the deal. Like, oh, that's a joke. Like she's screaming, blood curdling scream, everything's fine. Obviously things are not fine. And I love that whole process of just mixing stuff up.
No, it's brilliant. And, I was going to probably save this till the end when we got done breaking the song. I have to ask now, it's just on my mind. What did your mom think of this song when she heard it?
Oh, I have a great story about that. Ready?
Yes, please.
So I went home with a bunch of cassettes. It possibly was the album version, or it may have been demos. I can't remember at this time. I had cassettes in my suitcase, and maybe I was going to hand them out to friends when I went back to Eugene. And my mom had a proclivity, she kind of snoop around sometimes. So she went into my, I don't know, maybe my suitcase was open and she saw these cassettes. She's like, oh, interesting. And she, I wasn't around, but she found the cassette and then she looked at the song titles and then she's like, oh, there's a song called Mother, Mother. And so she brought it out to me in the dining room or wherever we were. And she just put it down and she's like, I haven't listened to this yet, but is there anything I need to know? And then I was like, Mom, I'm like, what did I say? I was like, okay, this is a song that I wrote. It's just kind of a joke. But, and I said, let's just play it now. Let's just put it in the cassette deck. And she's like, no, I think I'll listen to it on my own. So so she went and she listened to it. And the next day, it was such a relief. She's like, I loved it. It's theatrical, she said.
That's a great adjective.
Yeah, theatrical is perfect.
Hey everybody, we got to take a quick break for a word from our sponsors, but don't go anywhere. We got lots more with Tracy Bonham coming right up.
Looking to elevate your music career? DistroKid is a digital music distribution service that enables musicians to distribute their music to online stores and streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon, Tidal, and many more. DistroKid collects earnings and payments, sending them to you, the artist. With DistroKid, artists unlock a world of possibilities. From easily paying collaborators with splits to securing your music with DistroLock, DistroKid covers all bases. Plus, you can promote your releases with Hyperfollow and create eye-catching visuals with a Spotify Canvas generator, all for free. But that's not all. Introducing the DistroKid app, now available on iOS and Android. Artists can manage their releases, view streaming stats, and withdraw earnings, all from the palm of their hand. And for those looking to perfect their sound, check out Mixia. With its simple interface and customizable mastering options, artists can make their music sound polished and professional within minutes. And don't forget about Instant Share, DistroKid's newest feature. Share large files securely with collaborators, producers, and more, ensuring your music streams at the highest quality. Ready to take your music to the next level? Download the DistroKid app and explore their suite of tools today. Plus, listeners can enjoy 30% off their first year by visiting distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes. That's distrokid.com/VIP/DeMakes.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of ShopPay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
Rated T for Teen.
Each year, thousands of adults lose their shred. It's an epidemic simply known as shred loss. But it doesn't have to be this way, because rekindling your shred is as easy as playing the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. With new parks, cross-platform multiplayer, and sick new game modes, we can put an end to shred loss everywhere. Get the new Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and show the world that the shred's not dead. Pre-order Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 and play the Foundry demo.
Don't miss Blinds.com's 4th of July mega sale happening now. Save up to 50%, plus get a free professional measure. Blinds.com invented a better way to shop for window treatments with upfront pricing, no showroom markups, and no salespeople in your home. Choose from classic shutters to outdoor shades and more, all backed by our 100% satisfaction guarantee. Don't miss Blinds.com's 4th of July mega sale. Save up to 50%, plus get a free measure. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Hey everyone, Chris DeMakes here, and I've got some exciting news. Chris DeMakes a Podcast is now on Patreon. Your support is what keeps this show going, allowing us to bring you deep dives into amazing songs from incredible artists every week. When you join our Patreon at chrisdemakes.com, you'll get instant access to hundreds of episodes of The After Party, our weekly bonus show where producer Chris Fafalius and I talk music history, trivia, tour stories, classic albums, and whatever else comes to mind. Plus, you'll get early ad-free episodes of Chris DeMakes a Podcast, unedited video versions of each episode, and, of course, a brand new episode of The After Party every single week. If our show brings you a little joy, help us keep it going strong for just a couple bucks a month at chrisdemakes.com. Not ready to commit? No problem. You can sign up for a free membership while you decide. Thanks so much, everyone, and I hope to see you all at the after party.
And now, back to the show.
You know, I remember taking my first stuff that I was proud of, recorded home, you know?
Yeah.
And you'd kind of see, like, my parents were musicians, you kind of see the light bulb going off going, wait a second, this isn't my son's garage band anymore. This actually sounds like there's an idea here. And when I made that connection with my folks, it was like this burden was lifted off me because I quit college. I was like going to dedicate myself to this. And that's a very scary ledge to jump off of when you're young.
It really is. Yeah, because you want to have the blessing of your parents and you know that they love you and believe in you. If I'm lucky to say that, but it's always, just like, oh God, they're going to worry about me. And just that challenge of like, be prepared to starve, it weighs on you.
It does. And we all have insecurities. I don't care who you are. And being that young, you're like, it really is it's all about money at that age. Even when you say it's not, I'm not in it for the money. It's like, well, you need money to live. Yeah. You need money to eat, to pay your rent. Okay. So that's obviously an albatross above our heads going, wait, we gotta figure this out. Well, chorus one's awesome. We get those big hits. I'm hungry. I'm dirty. I'm losing my mind. And on Everything's Fine, it sounds like a swirling sound from a guitar pedal or a phaser on your violin. What is that?
Yeah, this is the violin.
It is?
Yeah.
And was there like a phase on it or something?
I think I was just sliding all around up and down the neck.
So that's sliding noise then?
Possibly.
Gosh, it's so cool. It sounds like a Leslie or a phaser or something on it.
There may be some effect on it too.
I absolutely love it. It's so cool. And that line, Everything's Fine, that's when we get the full scream and you let go there. Do you remember when you first went into that voice? And did you know that you possessed that voice?
Well, I had been performing it in Boston, so I did know that I had it.
Yeah.
But going into the ISO booth, right, when it's time to like record your vocals, I just remember thinking, okay, I'm only going to be able to do like one take. There's no way I'm going to be like, let me go do that again.
Yeah.
So I did surprise myself because some of those screams are like from the depths of my soul.
Yeah. Well, no. And the other thing that is always that I have straddled the line with, and I don't have too many screamy parts in songs or certainly anything like this, but you can sing. So a lot of times when people scream, it's because they can't sing. That they're a one-trick pony. Right. So here you have this song where you're singing and like, now you got to let go and scream. And it's almost like, was there ever the thought of, well, wait a second, this is going to make me sound like I'm not a good singer?
Oh gosh. At that time, I wasn't thinking that. I don't know. Maybe I had confidence in my singing voice. I just kept thinking how funny it was that I'm screaming. Like, oh my God, here I am, a classical violinist, whatever. And now I'm like, rah, rah.
Well, that's a great point. So what did your first violin teacher at 8 years old or like your friends back home that knew this prim and proper girl with the violin that was practicing and studious every day. And all of a sudden she's screaming about her mother on the radio.
Right. I mean, right. Okay. First of all, I don't think anyone thought I was prim and proper. So even though I played classical violin and I did practice a lot, I was always like a little bit mischievous. And they were always like, oh, she got kicked out of music school for a cigarette. And like, what is this girl?
She would have been first chair. She's great. But we had to put her second because she's sneaking cigarettes.
So that's kind of it, actually. That's kind of it. I was motivated. I played very well. And I did, I could have had a future. But I wanted to do other things too, including being mischievous. But, I wanted to sing jazz or.
Sounds like things were a little more adventurous taking this route. Something else I love in the choruses, we get 4 bars of the band rocking out in between the first half of the chorus. And then we get it again at the second half, which I'll talk about that in a second. But we get those hits again. I'm freezing. I'm starving. I'm bleeding to death. Everything's fine. And then those 4 bars of the band again fully rocking in between those hits. And it's great because after the band continues for those 4 bars, it's like the bottom drops out for verse 2. And talking about those dynamics again, it's just like, vroom, everything's back down. And I absolutely love what happens here.
Yeah, I'm working, making money. I'm just starting to build a name. I can't feel it down the corner. I
Yeah, I'm working, making money. Finally, geez. I'm just starting to build a name. I can feel it around the corner. I could make it any day. Mother, mother, can you hear me? Sure, I'm sober. Sure, I'm sane. Life is perfect, never better. Still your daughter, still the same. Those lyrics are great. I love the line now that I've talked a little bit to you. You know, you kind of alluded there was, you know, some substances and things. Sure, I'm sober. Sure, I'm sane.
Exactly. Sure, Mom.
Now, did she read between the lines there? Did she know that maybe not everything was as good as it appeared?
You know, she is incredible because she has this ability to be like, I'm not going to pay attention to that. I'm going to worry about all this other stuff. But like, if, you know, that kind of stuff was probably a little bit too intense for her. So she never asked. So I never told.
I love it. Mom, what you don't know is not going to hurt you. All right. The first half of verse 2 here, it's just guitar. There's no shaker here this time. But the violin is now playing a lower part panned off left and the higher figure is off to the right. I love that. Do you remember having that conversation? We're going to take the shaker out here.
I remember thinking about, how the arc of the song and how the arrangement would go. I don't remember taking the shaker out for the first part of that second verse.
And oddly enough, and I kept rewinding this part, I listened to it like 30 times. I'm like, is the shaker there? Because you get the percussiveness from the acoustic guitar, which almost sounds like a shaker with the strumming. But I think it's pulled out there. I think it was pulled out, if I were to guess, because it makes room for that lower violin part off to the left. And it's just, it's haunting.
The harmony, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. On the line, I could make it any day. A light tom fill this time takes us into the second half of verse 2. On the second half, the drums are really subdued here, but they continue with the bass guitar and another super high violin joins along with the two other parts there. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that? Because I almost thought it sounded like a keyboard or like a weird flangey guitar coming in there, but I said, no, this has to be the violin.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also the violin and the shaker both were not on the original recording. It was when I was mixing down at South Beach Studios with Tom Lord Alge that there was a guy named Joe. I can't remember his last name, but he was awesome. And he worked for Island Records and he was in the studio. And I should credit this guy. He's like, it's kind of like empty there. Why don't, you have your violin with you? Like, and so that's when I went out to try the violin in the first place. It wasn't even there. And then when the second verse comes along, it's like you want to add, you want to build.
Yeah.
So I loved this, I call it mariachi. It's kind of a mariachi harmony, just triads and stuff. But yeah.
Very cool. Well, the last line here, still your daughter, still the same. We get what sounds like a pick slide on the guitar and a big drum fill, but that pick slide is kind of panned off to the left. Is that a violin slide, not a guitar pick slide?
That is a guitar pick slide.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, I'm playing all the guitars on there. I just have to pat myself on the back there.
Oh my goodness.
Yay.
You did play. Now you played the acoustic and all the big guitars, everything.
Yeah. All the guitars on the album.
That rocks.
I know.
Okay. So you played all the guitars, and then you obviously had a drummer and a bassist, but you played the violin and all the guitars and the vocal.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that harmony thing one more time. Did Sean or Paul ever say? Because I almost feel, Tracy, now that I know exactly what the song's about and what you were going for, this is like a personal letter to your mom that you're speaking directly to her, having more voices. No, this is a singular thing.
Right. Well, again, I think I just wasn't thinking about vocal harmonies too much. It was just not on my plate at the time. I was like, no, thanks. Because I think I did want it to, well, first of all, I might have been thinking, how am I going to reproduce this live? Like when I go on tour, because I would be very particular about having background vocals, and not anyone can just jump in on background vocals. So I think I just kind of kept it as like a singular thing.
I love harmonies. I love vocals. That's probably my standout takeaways from songs. I've always been that way, and it's interesting. I pick harmonies out and I pick them apart because you could do so many things with them. You could leave them out, which is sometimes the biggest and greatest thing you could do is not put them there. I had Huey Lewis on talking about the power of love a couple years ago. And I said to him, I don't even know if you know this. And he didn't. He goes, oh my God, you're right. I said, you don't get harmonies in this song till the last chorus. And that's odd for Huey because his band has all these doo-wop type, blues harmonies and whatnot. So anytime harmonies are absent with somebody who I know can do harmonies, I always question why.
Yeah,
and,
it must be intentional.
yeah, and now I know why. Pre-chorus too. I'm calling this the pre-chorus, as I mentioned earlier, because we do get a different set of lyrics.
Still the same. If I tell you what you wanna hear, will it help you to sleep well at night? Are you sure that I'm your perfect dear? Now just cuddle up and sleep tight.
If I tell you what you want to hear, will it help you to sleep well at night? Are you sure that I'm your perfect dear? Now just cuddle up and sleep tight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just, it
More calming words from Tracy to her mom.
exactly. That maybe sums up the whole song. If I tell you what you want to hear, and then just don't worry, cuddle up, sleep tight, that's basically it.
I try to articulate this sentiment to other guests, and it's really hard. I look at lyrics like this and you're like, they're just there. They were written. They're kind of simple, but yet they're so poignant.
Yeah.
And that's what just strikes me about like what, and why I love doing this show. What made you think that? What made you put pen to paper? It's intriguing, and then combined it with, and it went from that idea from the coffee house to here, and it went to Island Records with producers. It went to Tom Lord Alge. You still had your violin. You cut another part. Now it's on the radio. I mean, that's a pretty crazy.
Oh, yes. And we can get to that in a minute too, where my mom is on the TV because she's in the MTV video. Like, that's weird.
I love that. I do want to talk about that. Pre-chorus 2, same instrumentation as pre-chorus 1, but different set of lyrics here. And then we go right into chorus 2.
I'm hungry, I'm dirty, I'm losing my mind, everything's fine. I'm freezing, I'm starving, I'm bleeding to death, everything's fine. I miss you, I love you.
This is a different type of arrangement. I mean, these choruses are only in here twice. And the second chorus is the same lyric. I'm hungry, I'm dirty. I'm losing my mind, everything's fine. I'm freezing, I'm starving. I'm bleeding to death, everything's fine. But some cool things happen here. We get the 2 hits at the top. I'm hungry, I'm dirty. But on the I'm losing my mind, is that a trumpet?
No, there's no trumpets in there.
It sounds like a trumpet goes right there, and I'm thinking, okay, well, Sean and Paul have recorded the Bostons. They know how to record horns. Maybe someone had a trumpet laying around, or heck, you're a multi-instrumentalist. Maybe you picked it up and said, this is going to go here. What is that noise there? Do you know?
I'm trying to think of what it is.
Is it your violin?
It's either a violin or another guitar slide.
I'm dirty, I'm losing my mind.
You know what happens a lot too, and there's not too many violins in rock music, okay?
Right.
But a lot of times what will happen is you'll get these pre-delays and different gates and stuff on instruments like a violin, and it'll totally make it sound like something else. So that could be
Where exactly is this weird sound?
This is in chorus 2. It's on the line, I'm losing my mind. So you get
like that?
Yeah, it's like a
Maybe kind of guitar feedback.
It could be, but I swore it was a trumpet. Okay, and you know what? Sometimes I get a little wax buildup in my ears, so maybe I'm not hearing everything great there. Hilarious. Also on that line, it's like a light strum of a guitar and like a hit of a hi-hat right there.
Oh, okay. Hang on a second. Are you talking about I call it the fake out one?
It's the fake out.
Oh, okay, the fake out.
It's where the third hit should be, but it's not there.
Okay, that's intentionally where we were like, psych, it's like, oh, we're going to do a little diddle-diddle. So that was my violin doing a trill. If that's what you're talking about.
That's got to be what it is. Your violin sounds to me like a trumpet there. Okay. After the second, everything's fine. The bass run is so good here. Yes. And that phase. Or that swirling sound on the violin is even more pronounced here than chorus 1. We get the 4 hits again. I'm freezing, I'm starving, I'm bleeding to death on the back half. And then 4 bars of the band rocking out again with no vocals. And then I said, is that another pick slide off to the left going into the outro here? I'm going to, because you said it was a pick slide before, I'm going to say, yes, that's a pick slide. And then we get, what do you call this last part? A coda or a tag?
I call it a tag.
A tag? Well, that's what I had written, a coda or a tag. We're going to go with tag per Tracy's suggestion here. And then we get, I miss you, I love you. And we get a hit on it. I miss you, I love you. And then a third hit to cap it off. Was the third hit always there?
Yes.
Okay. Like an exclamation point.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Put a button on it.
It didn't have to be there. It could be there.
I miss you. I love you. Nothing. Oh, it's true. It's true. That's true.
Might have been a little sweeter on mom's ears.
But that last, I don't remember exactly, but I'm almost hearing that. Dick-a-dunk, like a kick. Or something. I can't remember exactly, but it just seems like it wants to have that.
Yeah.
That period or exclamation point.
I love the way this ends. It just ends, so abruptly. Such a cool song. I want to hear about Mom on MTV real quick, though.
Okay. Oh, but also, can I go back to you had mentioned? Okay.
Of course, yeah.
I'm so glad you brought up the bass line because I think. So Drew Parsons is the bass player on that, and he went on to do. He's in the band American Hi-Fi and stuff like that. He came up with those bass lines on his own in the choruses, and those 4 measures that you're talking about was like his time to shine, and they're really good. Oh, they're so melodic.
He's so good. We just had American Hi-Fi on a couple weeks ago. So
right. Oh, that's great.
Had Stacy on. Yeah. But no, he's a great player, and it just sounds it sounds so good here. In those measures in between, we didn't really touch on those too much. That's different for a chorus. You got the hook of the vocals, and then it's 4 bars of you're just kind of lumbering along. Yeah. Again, I think it's the 90s, and I think it works right in that context because it's a little strange.
It is a little strange, and I'm thinking those 4 bars, like after I scream, everything's fine. Like, then it's just like you need that to process. You need to be like, this is cacophony, and we're just freaking out for these 4 bars. But in a very melodic, like the bass line, again, just makes it like really palatable. I love the melodic aspect of his bass lines in that part.
It's so good. And I'm glad you said you still think it sounds great. And like, I would change this and change that because even my earliest songs that I cringe at, I wouldn't change a thing because that's where I was at that point.
Exactly. Why waste your energy even trying to go back and change something that, you're not gonna.
It's funny though, because a lot of songwriters, and they feel, in a lot of instances, I'll agree with them. I think they've written better songs than their hit, and they get jaded, and they're like, and you've seen it too, where they'll go out. I've seen it to where people have committed career suicide. They'll get invited to play K-Rock Weenie Roast, and they won't play the song that K-Rock is playing on the radio because they're angry it wasn't the song they wanted.
Right. Or we're bigger than our hit, like maybe you are, but like give the people, they're paying. I mean, who knows how this, don't want to get into that, but it's your bread and butter. It's Mother is honestly how I got through the door. I mean, maybe locally in Boston, my song, The One, was really the thing, but Mother got me through the door. And this is why we're even like on this podcast together. And why not play this song that everybody loves and wants to hear? Yeah. Like, don't begrudge your fans,
Yeah, and look, after 30 years, I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking to you about this song. I know you have people all the time that tell you what this song meant to them. This song got me through college. This song was my wedding song. This song was my when my mom died. I mean, I'm sure you've heard it from all aspects.
All of it, and it's awesome. And I love that I'm hearing it again. I think there's kind of a resurgence. Maybe the song was featured in Yellow Jackets, that current or recent thing. And there's a resurgence, and people are coming to me or on TikTok or whatever, and like, oh my God, this song, I remember it. It was formative. And, it's really nice to hear that. Really nice.
I love that. So, Mom on MTV. Let's talk about this for a quick second, because I love this.
I do too. So it was time to make a video, and, Island Records had this big old budget, and I had been looking around for directors, and, they send their treatments and stuff like that. And the one that really spoke to me was from Jake Scott, and he was this fabulous director. And I think when we were talking about what the video should be like, it was like, the first thing was like, well, why not have your real mom in, like, don't have an actress or anything, just have your mom. And I was like, hell yes, she'll be so game. So, and then the treatment kind of went into like the idea that we'd be in a living room, and it was going to be this super weird, kitschy 70s living room with horrible green walls. And it just went from there. And so my mom and my stepdad flew out from Eugene, and we went to a studio in Long Island City, a big warehouse. And they constructed the living room and the dining room. They had the whole set. And I don't even know, I think obviously the director had the idea of me being inside a TV set, but we didn't really know how that was going to look.
Yeah.
But I recorded that first, where it was just my face. And then they were able to like project it onto the TV screen in the living room. And my mom just went into this. She just became like the perfect mom with the pink jumpsuit, and she was vacuuming. And when she caught, like, this is all her improv, when she was cleaning the TV screen with some Windex and a tissue, she went right into the corner of my eye and was like digging, trying to clean the corner of my eye. That was all her. Nobody told her to do that. So she's brilliant. My stepdad actually has a cameo where he walks through with a golf club. And the most brilliant thing about it, which was Jake Scott's idea, is it was all in one take. So there was a guy with a camera with the steady cam thing. I don't know, the big, huge arm coming out of his torso. And then everyone else was on the floor, crawling around behind the couch with all the wires and stuff, trying to stay out of the shot, because there was no editing, one shot. So the choreography was like, my stepdad walks by, the camera follows him, and then it goes into the dining room where there's a band playing and somebody's on the table and stuff. And I'll just give you a little Easter egg, is that I didn't have a guitarist at the time in the band yet. So I was dressed as a dude playing the guitar. I kind of looked like Prince.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah, so much fun.
And what did your parents think of that, flying all the way across the country? They're in Long Island, in the middle of some warehouse, and there's a bedroom being constructed. It's like, hey, Mom, you're going to play the mom. That is awesome.
It really is. It was great. And then they go back to Eugene. And my mom especially is a celebrity, and she was wearing a leather jacket that I had been gifted from the Hard Rock in Mexico City. And she's walking around Safeway or Albertsons and getting, people to ask for autographs and stuff.
I absolutely love that. My mom and dad were, my mom's still with us, but dad was so proud. And I love hearing stories like that. I love, it's so refreshing to meet artists that can look back and now have the appreciation of all those things you were worried about. It doesn't matter anymore. Right. Like, my breakout single, it made me famous. Like, I can't help that, and
poor me.
Yeah, poor you, right? But Tracy, congratulations on all your success and still being out there doing your thing. Let's talk a little bit before we break about your new album on the way called Sky Too Wide.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Cut to Now. So this is my 8th full-length album. And, it's funny, we were just touching on why go back and change older songs. We had spoken about that, but then I was like, dawned on me that there's a few songs on this new album, Sky Too Wide, where I did go back and just give some songs another breath of life, mainly from my second album, Down Here, which, there's a whole music biz story there that I'm not going to get into. But
gotcha.
Anyway, the collection of songs is new songs, brand new, and also a little small handful of songs that just needed a new life. And I'm playing more piano now, mainly because, let's see, I have, as you get older, things start to happen, and I have stenosis in my neck, So I'm playing less violin and a little less guitar. So piano was like that was my writing tool. And I started dipping back into the classical, my classical training. And even some of these older songs that I revamped, I put a new twist where I kind of went into this classical. It still is deep and it still rocks. There's still that fire and energy, but it's not the 90s angst. It's like deep, like, I don't even know what to call it. I'm saying it's like alchemy, where it's like rock and then my classical and then my quirky indie songwriting stuff. And it's all in one, and it kind of encompasses like kind of all sides of me.
That's great. Yeah, at an older age when you reimagine something, I love that. It's hard to go back and re-record something in the spirit of what you did, though. And it sounds like this is a completely different thing, what you did with reimagining the tracks. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a joy to do that.
That's awesome. Any tour dates coming up? And if so, where can the fans find them?
So on June 10th, which is just a few days from now, I have my record release party at Joe's Pub in New York City with special guest Fred Armisen, because that's what you do. You get your friend to join you, and he and I are working on some funny bits. And then after that, we've got some things brewing for August, West Coast, and some Eastern Seaboard dates. And also, I'd say check back on my website, basically, or bands in town. And then most likely Europe in the late fall.
Awesome. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Where is that small circle that I can count on? Yeah, I'll dim the sky for being too idle. I'll dim the brothers who took that first flight. Dim the miles between you and I. Yeah, I'll dim the sky for being too idle. I'll dim the brothers who took that first flight. I'll dim the miles between you and I.
Hey, everybody. The beautiful song that you're hearing right now is Damn the Sky for Being Too Wide from Tracy's new album, Sky Too Wide. Make sure you go check that out. It just came out. And don't go anywhere. We got lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Enjoy complimentary access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Close your eyes, exhale, feel your body relax, and let go of whatever you're carrying today.
Well, I'm letting go of the worry that I wouldn't get my new contacts in time for this class. I got them delivered free from 1-800-CONTACTS. Oh my gosh, they're so fast.
And breathe.
Oh, sorry. I almost couldn't breathe when I saw the discount they gave me on my first order. Oh, sorry. Namaste.
Visit 1-800-CONTACTS.com today to save on your first order.
1-800-CONTACTS.
Hey, I'm Chris Fafalius, producer of Chris DeMakes a Podcast, and also host of One Hit Thunder. Each week on the One Hit Thunder podcast, we take a look into a one-hit wonder band or artist to determine if they deserved more success or if they were lucky to even have a hit at all. We've covered When in Rome, Jaquan, Shanice, Yellow, Squirrel Nut Zippers, Jesus Jones, Positive K, Mazzy Star, and hundreds more. With new episodes every Wednesday and special guests from the worlds of music and comedy, we always have nonstop fun, and maybe, if we're lucky, we discover some new favorite music. So if you love great songs and you often find yourself asking, whatever happened to that band? Check out One Hit Thunder wherever you get your podcasts.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumightnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured artist is Ellen May, a DIY pop-punk emo band from Perth, Australia. You can find them online on all the socials and streaming services. Here's a snippet of their song, Bombs Away.
So tell me, when is it gonna get better? Tell me, when are we gonna get clear? Tell me, when is it gonna get better? When are we gonna get out of here? Let's leave, get out, search for what's not been found. Does it finally feel like we're on the road?
The Wrap with Chris and Chris.
Chris, I was laughing and smiling so much throughout this episode, and my big thought while I was watching you guys record is, man, I'm glad we started this show 5 years ago so I could experience these two people talking to each other about a song. This was an amazing episode.
Yeah, I told you before we started rolling again here for the wrap-up that she's top 10 guests that we've had, just being able to talk conversationally, just the flow of it. What a great episode.
Yeah, and I love this song. We actually did a One Hit Thunder episode about this song, and then Tracy heard the episode, which I told you, sometimes that's like we get nervous about that, but we love the song, so there wasn't really anything to be nervous about. Then she came on as a guest on One Hit Thunder, and she was such a great guest that I instantly asked her, hey, would you come on Chris DeMakes a Podcast and talk about this song? And I'm glad I did, because she is so cool, and this song rocks.
Yeah, and I asked her straight up. I said, you still proud of it after 30 years? As I think it sounds great. She goes, oh, yeah. She thinks, and Sean Slade and Paul Q. Coldery, the producers, they knocked it out of the park with this one. It's, there's not too much here. It's a rock band with a violin and that vocal. She didn't overdo it. There's no harmonies on here, but man, this song hits.
It's wild that there is also that scream in this song, because when we talk about those producers, okay, they did Creep from Radiohead.
Yep.
And they talk about that moment, the chunk, cha-chunk.
Yep.
And then in Mighty Mighty Bosstones, an impression that I get, you talk about that moment when Dickie screams before the chorus hits.
Yes.
And this is yet another song where there's a moment in the song that is so memorable when Tracy screams. It's kind of like, I'm always thinking about that now, and it's because of these two producers that I think about that, having a memorable moment in a song, and this one definitely has it.
Oh, absolutely. And, I've never asked a singer in so many words as I did Tracy, I said, were you worried at all? Because you got a great voice. You're classically trained. You can obviously sing that. Wait a second, this is going to make me sound, because it's pitchy, it's screamed, it's not perfectly in tune, it's angsty. And she said it really, wasn't a thought. She was kind of just caught up in the time, and I'm glad she didn't overthink it.
It's funny that she talks about being the person in music class who was getting in trouble for smoking cigarettes and stuff, because she talked about how it was fun for her to explore outside of the rules. So I just picture her as being a young person in a music class, and yes, she's awesome. She's a ripper at violin and stuff, but she's also like kind of the bad girl in class.
Uh-huh.
So it was fun for her to explore outside of the rules when she's this classically trained artist. And what she said is when she was writing this song, she was like, it made me laugh. And then she thought to herself, oh my God, I can't do that, so I have to do it.
Yeah, and I had kind of taken a stab. I just kind of called her out. I just figured she was doing the coffee shop singer-songwriter thing, and that's exactly what she was doing. She said, yeah, I was out playing this song, Mother, Mother. It's just a song that I had. I love the whole story of how her mother is snooping around. She gets the cassette. She listens to it. Next thing you know, she's on a plane to New York to be in the video. Mom and dad are proud. The whole thing's great. And her attitude, just being able to say, yeah, Mother, Mother is why I'm still talking to people 30 years later. That's beautiful.
It's so wild for me to think, Chris, and you're a parent, so maybe at some point you're going to get to experience this in one way or another if the musicianship and love of music passes down to your kids. But how crazy does it have to be as a parent to hear a song come out of a human that you created? Like, that has to be the most surreal thing for a parent to experience.
Absolutely, and here her daughter, who was her baby, travels across the country. And I totally bonded with Tracy over what she was talking about with her parents. I did the same thing. I mentioned in the episode. I'd call home. I would never, ever allude to exactly what was going on because, yeah, Dad, I'm really hungover at a truck stop and it's dangerous, and I feel like crap.
Right.
And we did drugs last night,
Right. It's funny when you were talking about that, I thought about this moment when I was on the first ever Punchline tour where we played a show in San Angelo, Texas.
Oh my Lord.
And this was still in the times of like using a payphone. And I remember using a payphone. I don't remember if I was calling home or a girlfriend or whatever, but there was a guy down the street who was walking towards me whistling like a trying to get your attention whistle, like, hey, and walking faster and faster. I remember hanging up that phone and like booking it out of there because I don't know what was up with that. But just these dangerous moments in dangerous parts of town that you find yourself in, it's just, that made me laugh. That was really cool. And, Tracy also said, don't begrudge your fans. Play the song they want to hear, which I think is good advice to any artist.
Absolutely good advice. And she also touched on the jealousies that you will get, the people that she's running with. All of a sudden, she's starting to get attention, and you're starting to get that. And I think if you have any success as a musician or whatever in life, you're going to have your detractors and people that are a little bit jealous of you. But man, like I said, she was top 10 guest. She was so easy to talk to. And what a great song, man.
Yeah, dude. When I was watching you guys record this episode, I felt like a fan. I didn't feel like the producer of this show. I felt like a listener of this show. Like a lot of people, I wanted to go leave us. I think I already did this. I wanted to go leave our own podcast a 5-star review. And, a lot of
I love that.
Yeah. I think I have done it before. Have you ever left our own podcast a 5-star review?
I haven't, but I think I might go today, and we're going to talk about those 5-star reviews in a second. But thanks for supporting us here at Chris DeMakes a Podcast. You probably know the drill by now. Head over to ChrisDeMakes.com. That's right, ChrisDeMakes.com, where you can sign up for our Patreon, where you get bonus episodes of the After Party and all kinds of other goodies. Chris, tell them what else. Why wouldn't they join the Patreon at this point?
I mean, you get a giant back catalog of After Party episodes, hundreds of episodes, plus a new episode every week. You can get unedited videos of each week's episode if you want, depending on what tier you sign up for. And most importantly, you allow us to continue making this show. Those of you that have already signed up, we appreciate it so much. It literally allows us to continue making this show. So thank you. And Chris, I can't wait to read your 5-star review. I think we should read your review of your own show in an upcoming episode. And I think you should start it with like, hey, I know I'm a little bit biased because I'm the host of this show, but I think it deserves 5 stars. I think you should absolutely do that. But I do have a review from an actual listener of the show if you'd like to hear it.
Do they have a funny handle?
This one is Crockett8685 or Crockett8665.
Oh, 86. So Crockett 86. Crockett and Tubbs were on Miami Vice. That was around in 86. So this guy must have been born in 65. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. Well, Crockett 8665 said, love this show, gave us 5 stars, and said, I first heard the Butch Walker episode and immediately realized it was Chris from Less Than Jake. That's pretty cool that they didn't even know that you were the guy from Less Than Jake. They just checked out the episode. That's me tuning in on this review.
Oh.
I started cherry picking episodes from artists that I was more into, but after 6 episodes, I wanted to hear them all. I appreciate the emphasis on songwriting and production. Keep up the good work. I love that review, Chris, because I think that's something, if you're a listener and maybe you're like Crockett 8665 and you're cherry picking, don't do that. Go listen to all the episodes because you might find a new favorite song or artist. Or even if you don't particularly care for the song, you might love the story or you might love the conversation.
This podcast has made me love songs I swore I hated back in the day. I'm telling you. And that's pretty much what my review is going to be. And I think, Chris, you've inspired me. I think as soon as we're done here today, I'm going to go send in my 5-star review, and we wish you to do the same. Thanks to Crockett 86, Crockett 8665.
That's right.
Excuse me. And I want to thank this week's guest, Tracy Bonham, for being with us. And we'll see you next week. Hey friends, have you been loving Chris DeMakes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.